In this video, I'm going to show you how you can get Slack alerts for users that interacted with your ads. So anyone that comments or likes or reacts to your ad, you can send a notification to Slack. And just as an example, this is an Adobe ad, and you can see there were 16 members that reacted. And in LinkedIn, if you click on those, you can see the users that reacted. And essentially what you're going to be doing is just pulling in that data to a Slack alert. So here's an example. We have the name, the job title, the company, the LinkedIn profile URL, and you can set these segments up by campaign or campaign group, however you have your LinkedIn ad structured. The only requirements for this is you do need a High Performer Enterprise account. That's the software that I use to enable this. There are other tools out there, but they all usually cost a few $100s. So right now I'm on an enterprise account and I use this across some of my clients. And then you also need Slack to get that notification. You can also just see a table of these users and export it as a CSV file if you're going to use it for other outbound flows or any other kind of sales activity. And that's the benefits with this. It is great sales visibility for outreach for the sales team. And it's also helpful just to validate who's seeing your ads, who's reacting, making sure everything looks good with your targeting. Of course, you're going to already be monitoring your demographics another way on LinkedIn ads, but it is just good extra visibility to see who's interacting with your ads. And this does run every 24 hours, so it does run daily. So I'm going to jump right into setting this up. So I'm going to go into my High Performer account. It's highperformer.ai is the website. I can put a link in the description below for this website. So once you have an enterprise account, you'll go into the segments and workflows section. So I'll click there. So I'm going to create a new segment. So I'll go to the new button and I'll click that. And I usually set this up for different categories in my LinkedIn ads accounts. So for cold prospecting, I'll set a segment up for that. For retargeting, I'll set up another segment. So we're going to go ahead and create a segment, and we're going to use the find people engaging with specific LinkedIn post. So we'll click that. Now, just as an example, you can open up your ads in your ad account to preview them in the feed. And then you'll click the three dot icons and you'll click copy link to post. So I'll go ahead and just this example and pick an ad that I saw online. I'll go back into High Performer here and I'll paste it here, and then I'll click enter. And you can paste in multiple, if you have a list of posts, you can paste in multiple. If you have a lot of ads, it can be a little manual. With one of my clients, you can pull the same URL from the LinkedIn Ads API if you're already using that. So one of my clients uses the LinkedIn Ads API, and one of their developers pulled a whole list of it. Or else you're going to have to take a few minutes and preview all your ads and copy and paste those links into here. But it is pretty quick, even if you have, let's say like 20 ads across your account. And then for the first time data sync, we're going to select just pull anything in the last 24 hours here. And then we want this to run every day. And then we'll click add here. And it will take a few minutes, but it'll open up this table. We'll let that load here. And while that's loading, we'll go into the workflow section. This is where we're going to set up the Slack alert. So we're going to go into the enrichments here in the workflow section. And we're going to type in Slack. And we're going to select send message to Slack channel. I already have my Slack connected, but you can click add new account and you can add High Performer to your Slack. So if I go into my Slack settings, you can actually see the High Performer app. I also have a few other apps in my Slack account. So once you add your Slack account here, that will add it into Slack, and it will enable this. And then in the message configuration section, this is where we'll select a channel to send this message to and set up our message. So I'll go ahead and select a channel, and then we'll give it a message headline. You can call it whatever you want, but I usually say new ad reaction alert. And if this segment is for specific campaigns, I'll add a little note here and say which campaigns this is for. And then for the message body, we're going to add in a new key and value pair. So we'll click here. And then we'll start adding the components we want to add to the message. So we want the user's name. So we'll click over here, do a backslash, and we'll select name. So this is just the parameter from the table that's going to fill out our Slack message. And then we'll click here, and we also want the job title. And then we'll go in here, do a backslash, and look for the job title. We also want the company. Again, go here, and we're just pulling the data from our table. And here we want the LinkedIn profile URL. And we'll do that. We'll look for LinkedIn, and we'll collect the LinkedIn profile. So we're going to get the contact's full name, the contact's job title, the company they work for, and their LinkedIn profile URL for the contact. And we'll go into this third section here. So we want a Slack notification status. And then in here, we're going to click here, and we're going to create a new column. So you want to do this every time you set it up. If you're doing it for another segment, and we're just going to create a new column. We can call this Slack notification. We'll call this prospecting, and then we'll click create, and it'll create that. And we want this to run as a workflow. So we'll keep the trigger set to the first bullet here for record addition or update, and we want it to run when a record is added. So we'll keep that there, and we'll turn off the also run once for current records. And keep the run only for empty records on. And you can add in some filters here. So if you're running maybe thought leader ads and you've had some people react to your post, but you don't want any ad reactions from people from your company, or you want to also just filter it down to make sure you're just having ad reactions for people that are ICP fits and fit your persona you're targeting, you can use these different filters here and set up some conditions. And we'll just leave it blank for now here. And then we'll click add task to workflow. So again, we're back in the workflow section here. We can see our new Slack notification has been added. I did rename this table. So the segment name, I called it Cold Prospecting Ad Reactions. You can give it any name you like. And if you click back into the main table, you'll see it ran and it pulled all the people that reacted to the ad that I added to this. And then you can add in further enrichments if you like to pull more data about these members. And then you can also export this as a CSV or export it and use it in other automations for outreach or connecting on LinkedIn. Right here, if you go into the sources section, so if you want to add more ads to this, after you've already created this, you can click the sources, click add new. Again, go back to find people engaging with specific LinkedIn posts, click here, and then add those back in. So this has been really helpful for my clients in seeing who's reacting, having the sales team reach out and connect with these folks. You can also use it for outbound sequences and do more automations around this. And if you're interested in getting Slack notifications for which companies are engaging with your LinkedIn ads, you can set up this Slack notification.